So CGC put out an update to the Bengate situation. I'm sure their statement was full of tact, empathy, and took full accountability for all the books that they have been damaging in their holder process.
You serious?
Just kidding. You and I both know that didn't happen. It was a complete dumpster fire. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this one, we got ourselves an update. There you see CGC Mike posting over in the CGC forums to address everything going on with Bengate/Bananagate. Of course, the popular, newest, latest, greatest, worstest situation going on with CGC, where the inner well is warping and causing bends against books that are in the CGC slab. I wanted to take this video and go over the statement with you guys, but more importantly, talk about the community's response to the statement, which, as you guys can see from this very, very passionate Facebook thread with a lot of laugh emojis going on, it was not very positive, to say the least. You know what's funny? Really quick, before we get into it, every time there is a post on like a Facebook group or some kind of forum, and then you can see the emojis, you know that if you go right down to the comments and you see a bunch of laughing emojis right away, the laughing ones right here, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. And this one, I think, is going to be a good one as we go over it here together. But, of course, before I get into it, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, I appreciate it. Helps our channel doing those things. But here we go. Another post from CGC once again. Poor CGC Mike. Does anyone have to take as much heat as CGC Mike? This guy is like comic book grading Sisyphus. Like, he is just tormented, having to deal with all of the fallout that comes anytime CGC messes up a situation. And he had to do that with this one here today. Let me read it together with you guys, and then we can talk about what people are saying. We have seen reports that some of the soft plastic wells used inside the CGC holder exhibit a curve when viewed from the side. After learning of this, we conducted an extensive review and found that the smallest well size, which is used for the thinnest comic books, is more pliable than other wells and in some cases will exhibit a slight curve. Okay, so that sort of explains why this was seemingly happening mostly to modern comic books, but let's carry on. Importantly, this curve does not cause any damage to the comic book. Ooh, okay, here we go. And it does not affect the grade in any way. The angle of bend required to create a stress line simply cannot be done within the CGC holder. In addition, very high-grade comic books can still exhibit minimal stress lines according to CGC's official grading standards. We do not consider this slight curve to be a mechanical error that requires reholdering. Still, we are always listening and want to serve our customers the best way we can. Well, they're going to be listening to this one after this statement. We have found that our next largest well size does not exhibit this slight curve and have started to use that well in lieu of our smallest size. We appreciate all of the feedback from our community, and we are grateful to be the hobby's first choice for grading for nearly 25 years. Many of us are collectors too, and we care deeply about the services that we provide. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please write to us at service@cgccomics.com or call or text us at, the number is 1-855-GRADE-10. And what did I just say? Look at the emojis on the CGC forums right there. Well, that was the statement that was updated by CGC. And, well, what do you expect, guys? Nobody was pleased about this one. We're going to get into the comments in just a second, but let me just kind of break this down. When I read a statement like this just sort of sounds like, in a way, legalese to me. They obviously have a situation on their hands here, with the warping of their inner wells. I mean, it's good that they presumably found the one plastic that was causing it. Maybe it actually will be able to fix it in the future. But I have to think that the reason that they're being specific about the language of not taking accountability and saying that, oh, we don't actually cause any damage to the books is, they might have a class action lawsuit on their hands if they actually admit that they are causing this type of damage. So I have to assume that this is the reason why they're using some of this language and avoiding that accountability and saying that it doesn't damage the books. And the problem is that, where CGC is now with a lot of their reputation, generally speaking, where they say like, oh, it wouldn't matter, against the grade anyways, like, these lines are still, within the standards of presumably a 9.8 or whatever you would want to call it. I think that the reason that they're trying to imply that is because, what they're basically saying is like, hey guys, it's a 9.8, like who cares, right? The number is the number. And in prior years, that actually would have been true, right? Most people just buy the grade, not the book, right? Like that's kind of the ironic thing that people do. They just look at the number. But now people are starting to be a little more discerning. It's just not going to fly in this environment anymore. I mean, nobody is willing to just sort of accept the number ever since earlier in the year when we had the reholder situation. I mean, people are definitely looking closely at those comic books, at least the ones on social media. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, people don't really know. But as far as the people that are talking about it in this Facebook group, let's see what the people had to say. As they grew, the average employee capability declined. Simply put, if you hire minimum wage assembly line workers, the quality declines. Well, I do think that there might be something to the fact that if you're paying people peanuts to, be the quality assurance team, for your graded comic books, when they're putting stuff together in the factory, yeah, like they're going to put in, minimum wage effort. I mean, that's just kind of natural, So I don't know if this particular situation has anything to do with that, right? Because this seems to be a material issue. But yeah, there's been a lot of quality control issues for sure. Grading is just for flippers. Collectors like to open their comics. Ooh, spicy take right there. I'm tempted to talk about that, but I feel like that's going to derail our conversation. That's definitely another video. Time to give PSA a chance with the laughing emojis. I'll grade my own books then, thanks CGC. I mean, the people are letting them have it. Here's just an example right here, a 9.8 Spawn. There you see the little bit of the inner well bending. You can see kind of the spine ticks right there. And that's what CGC is saying, is that does not actually affect the grade, nor does it actually damage the book. I'm not really sure how they can justify that other than to just sort of say, they're hand waving away this damage and just kind of implying like, hey, it's a 9.8, like who cares? I mean, that's kind of what they're saying. But obviously people are going to care. People are going to care, whether they care because they're trying to sell the book and they have to deal with the customer who is going to buy that thing and it's going to see that spine tick. Or, if you're just the collector who it's like, you don't want your book to have the spine tick right there. You don't want your book to have that, right? Even if you did get the 9.8 grade, that never feels good. All right, we have more people showing inner well bending right there. Here's another version of this, USA agent. You guys can sort of see right down there, that kind of spine tick warping situation going on. Now, some of these ones of pictures that people are sharing, you don't really know. I mean, in theory, that could just be what's on the book. I mean, it's really hard to say. And that's something that, in fairness, I wish there was a way to tell how many books are actually having this effect. I mean, there are definitely people anecdotally that have shared with me like, hey, I do these massive submissions and about, 20% of the books are coming back damaged. That's some of the numbers I've been hearing, 15 to 20%. I don't know if that's true. I mean, everything, again, still is sort of anecdotal. So it's really hard to know how far this problem actually stretches. I'm just generally curious to find out how much of an epidemic this actually is. And again, maybe it kind of goes back to the initial statement that they just put out where maybe CGC knows how bad this is. Maybe this is a lot of books that it's happening to, and they kind of have to, dodge the accountability, because if they really had to reholder this stuff, I mean, how many books are we talking here? It could be like half of every submission that they've done this entire calendar year. CGC has fallen hard over the last 5 years. The community has caused this, though, by defending them to the death, not for quality, but because it affects their resale. Since CBCS started, I trust their grading more than CGC, and I don't see that ending anytime soon. Well, again, yes, this is true, but the market is the market. I mean, how many people have seen that meme of, people raising the pitchfork saying like, oh, down with CGC, and the next photo is them saying, and who is going to submit to CBCS? And everyone lowers their pitchforks. I mean, that is definitely true. But one of the things that I've talked about in a lot of videos that I've done is really it starts from the top down. I mean, CGC has so many institutional connections to auction houses, to all the ecosystem of comic books, to dealers and things like that. I mean, they are the most trusted brand for a reason. They've been around the longest. So until that changes, nothing changes. Until the resale value of comic books, actually go to CBCS and they can command the same price. I mean, again, nothing changes. And let's not pretend that CBCS hasn't had their issues. I mean, CBCS has had tons of issues as well that made people lose faith with them as a company. I mean, it was in 2021, the prices were actually pretty close. But, over the years with CBCS doing stuff, they've definitely lost that trust. Meanwhile, the hundreds of books I've sent to CBCS since I left CGC, 0 issues, none. Well, some CBCS fans, none of it matters. It's their 4th to 6th major F up, and the idiots still use them blindly. The people to blame are the goofs still using CGC. They'll never change because they don't have to. No, I have issue with this. I actually think that the people are not idiots for using CGC. It just is the thing that clearly people should do if their goal is to, preserve value or to get the highest return if they decide to sell a book. I mean, that is just true. You would be a fool to not use CGC in this current situation. And don't misunderstand me here. I am not defending, Bengate or Reholdergate or all of these situations. I'm just calling it like it is. I'm being a realist here. I mean, there's a reason why people continue to use CGC. And again, like I said, until the institutions change, nothing will change. Not surprised in the slightest bit. Their errors come and go in cycles. The Ben will cause spine ticks and color breaks in the future. How is that not important? This is a sorry-ass response. You can make all the proclamations you want about CGC's services and them not standing up to their guarantees, but in reality, this is the only guarantee they offer, sorry. And yeah, this is kind of a good point. Remember the 2 guarantees that CGC Comics Grading Company actually guarantees? The collectible has been inspected by at least 2 professionals. The collectible is authentic, unless stated otherwise on the CGC label. Those are the 2 guarantees. They do not guarantee that your book will be bent like a banana, or I should say, not bent like a banana. That is not a part of the guarantee. So what is everyone complaining about? That's just me being facetious, guys. I didn't actually mean that. Now I'm going to find myself, on a forum. Swagglehouse thinks that bending your books is okay. No, I don't think it's okay. And I don't think that this response and update was okay either. I think that people are definitely going to take issue with this. In fact, people are taking issue with this. And I have a feeling that CGC Mike is going to have to make another post soon because it doesn't seem like people are happy. And this is definitely causing a hit on CGC's reputation. Well, that's all for this video. That was me giving an update or sharing CGC's update with everything going on with Bananagate, Bengate. What do you guys think about this? How are you guys feeling about their post and their response? What do you guys think that they should actually do here? Do you guys think that this is basically them just sort of ducking accountability, trying to prevent, what in theory could be a class action lawsuit? Again, I say that I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what I'm talking about. But at the same time, I have to think that they have to sort of, dodge this stuff. Because if they admitted that basically their holders are damaging all their books, I mean, how could they not have to, financially recoup everybody that has submitted a book, this last calendar year, if not the last 2 calendar years or however long this actually dates back, which actually, that kind of reminds me, I've even read comments and seen people say that this has been happening for years. Is that true for you guys? Has this been happening for years and only now that people have eyes on it, this is where people are starting to see it? One of the other things, again, let's put on the tinfoil hats, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to Pepe Sylvia Town. I actually heard that this is a summer months issue at CGC. That, a lot of people have always said, it's the grading company down in Florida. One of the issues that they have is the weather over there. And when they get into the summer months and things are really hot, the plastic starts to actually, warp and starts to bend. So maybe there's a little bit of shrinkage going on in the inner well, which causes a little bit of curvature. It gets too tight in there. I was in the pool! All right, I'm going to wrap it up. What do you guys think about this update? What do you guys think about this situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next video.